Try this again. Try to make a video. I just got up again. So I haven't gotten changed or anything. But anyway. Okay. Move it hair out of the way. I guess the mailman is out there. He's hoping his card's here. I don't think it'll be here this early. Because he just ordered another one. He might get the old one, but, you know, he didn't want to wait. So, it's cold and rainy today. It's not really cold, but it's foggy and everything. So everybody that lives in this state, be careful with the fog. Let's see, I never gave a little bit of background about me, have I? Okay. Let's see. Okay, let's start off. I was born in Germany. Back when I was born, it was called West Germany. So not to get confused with what was East Germany. My father was an American soldier. Mother was a homemaker, and she had jobs throughout my childhood too. I'm the youngest out of 4 kids, and my mother's from the Bronx in New York City, and my father's from Cleveland in Ohio. What else can I tell you? I've been to Germany 2 other times besides being born there the first time. And I grew up in a Catholic home. We were Catholic. Wasn't strict Catholic unless when we lived with my grandmother was different, but you know, because we went to church every day then. My mom and dad didn't push the Catholic religion. She just let us, you know, choose to be what we wanted to be. Is you know, we're Catholic. Not all people in my family were Catholic. My mother's father's side were Protestant. Most of them anyway. Like I said, my father was in the military up until I was 15, and we were living in Michigan when he decided to retire. I don't like talking much about myself, but you know, I was raised with values, and you know, that's what I put on my son too. I went through many elementary schools throughout my childhood. At 7, I was pushed off a baseball dugout, got cracked in the head, split open because of the fall. I remember some of it, but not all of it. Let's see what else. I spent a lot of time mostly in Ohio, but I also spent time with my other grandmother in New York. So I kind of give off that thing. I remember the first street that I remember she lived on was on Bathgate Avenue. So, hello everybody that lived on that street in the Bronx. Later on, my grandmother moved to Glebe Avenue. When we were with my grandmother in New York, we weren't allowed outside. She was afraid we'd get hurt. When we were in Cleveland, and we stayed there for a little longer than, we did in New York City with my other grandmother, my father's mother. The first house I remember was a 2-story. And I remember the bathroom having black and white checkerboard. I think that was on Clement, something like that. Started with C anyway. And after my grandfather passed away in '67, she and I think my great-grandmother helped her get another house, which was on Triscuit Avenue, or Road. Just a tiny little white house, 2-bedroom. Had an attic and a basement. And when we visited, we slept in the basement. I grew up with animals, dogs, cats, and birds mainly. First cat I remember is Mama Kitty. She had a hole in her head. She was like a tiger looking, black and white tiger. And regular tabby type cat. The other one was Precious. He was white with a little bit of stripes and stuff like that. That was a funny cat. That cat liked to go outside, bring presents to my brothers, and there was the one time he actually brought in a mouse or something and dropped it on one of my brothers. I can't remember which one was it. But I had 3 older brothers. One passed away in 2002. There was issues with that, so that's kind of something I don't go into. The 2 older ones, were older. Like, I think the oldest was 12 years older than me. So when I was still a child and a Vietnam War was going on, him and my other brother, plus my dad, were all 3 in Vietnam, but in different areas. And they all came back safe, thank God. They each got education. My brother Tom got more education because that's what, they needed. He himself spent like 12 years at OSU, Oregon State University, whereas the other one went to Ohio State University for a little bit. I don't know how long, because we didn't have much contact with Mike. He sort of, he sort of went on his own, and he's done real well, and I do say I'm proud of him for it, but there's an issue on his side towards me, so I haven't talked to him in over 30 years. Well, since my father died, and that was in 2002. So that's the last time I saw him, when he brought my father back here to get buried with my mother. The oldest one, Tom, on the other hand, we do talk, and he's actually sent me pictures of, my mother's side of the family. I don't know if he has any of my other side, my father's side, but he sent me a lot of my mom's side. The pictures he had anyway. He probably sent my brother Michael some too. Who knows? But, They all went off, got married. My oldest brother doesn't have any biological kids, but through the couple of wives he's had, he's adopted, as he said, calls them his kids, which, that's the way it should be. I don't know and it's not my business what went on with their mothers and their biological fathers, but they're all, it all turned out good. He helped, raise the girls, and I think they're all girls. My brother Michael has 3 from the first marriage, 1 or 2 from the second one, and maybe 1 to 3 from the last marriage. The oldest died in March a couple years ago. I think it's been 2 years since she died. I don't know what she died of. She might have had an illness. I don't know. She had kids herself. Last time I saw her, she was like maybe 7, 8. But I myself have 4 kids altogether. The only one I raised was the oldest. The other 3 were put up for adoption. It wasn't because I didn't want them, it's because of financial problems. And little Birdie talking to my kids' dad. But, gotta cut this off. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.